Hey everyone, it's Michael Brook from Rapid Couples Counseling and Hypnotherapy. This video is just a little brief video around what hypnotherapy is good for. A lot of people are curious about it and haven't tried it out, so I thought I'd make this video about what it's good for, what its uses are, how it actually works, what does hypnosis feel like, and also some common myths that a lot of people have that might prevent them from using hypnotherapy. So what is hypnotherapy actually useful for? Well, the basic definition and the basic understanding is that any pattern of repeating behavior or emotional states can be changed with hypnosis and hypnotherapy. I'll repeat that. Any pattern of repeating behavior or emotional states can be changed with hypnosis and hypnotherapy. Now, when you think about that definition, it's actually extremely broad. But the reality is that I've worked with a very broad range of experiences and broad range of repeating patterns of behavior over the last 18 months, and this is only in the last 18 months, that people would find very surprising. So I've worked with people who are stressed or exhibiting extreme stress. I've worked with people with PTSD. I've worked with people with anxiety. I've worked with people who have depression. Some of the clients I've worked with have had depression for 15 to 20 years. I've worked with phobias. I've done hypnobirthing. I've helped people using hypnosis to reduce the pain of childbirth. I've worked with uncontrollable coughing. I had a client who could not stop coughing. They were coughing hundreds of times a day. I've worked with a client who had uncontrollable sneezing. I've worked with a client who had uncontrollable hiccuping. They were hiccuping 3,000 times a day. I have worked with a client who had a fear of driving a car over a bridge. Panic attacks. Panic attacks can be quite common if people are stressed out of their brains and there's something that triggers them in the external environment. I've worked with people with pot or marijuana addiction. I've worked with uncontrollable thumb sucking. I've worked with uncontrollable nail biting. I've worked with alcohol addiction. I've worked with gambling addiction. I've worked with cocaine addiction. I've worked with meth addiction. I've worked with sports performance improvement, as in improving your golf swing or improving running performance. I've worked with people who have a fear of public speaking. I've worked with people who have a fear of flying. Worked with people who have a fear of driving. I've had a fear of driving on cars on a highway. I've worked with people who've had a fear of driving cars at night. Worked with people with fears of driving a car in a tunnel. I've worked with people who have fears of driving a car over a bridge. I've successfully worked with people with a tremendous range of repeating patterns of behavior. A lot of people want to know how hypnosis works. So the best way to understand hypnosis is the metaphor that I use called the toddler and the elephant. So the toddler is your unconscious mind. It's a part of you that's registering what I'm saying at the moment. And the elephant is your subconscious mind or the rest of your mind. Now notice the toddler is much smaller than the elephant. Your subconscious mind or the unconscious mind, whichever way you want to call it, is much bigger than the toddler. So they have different jobs. So the toddler or your conscious mind has a very specific job, and the elephant and your unconscious mind has a very specific job. They work together as a team. So the toddler's job is to present problems to the elephant for the elephant to solve. The toddler solves problems rationally. It picks the best solution given a small list of things, and it picks the best solution that the elephant tells them to the problem that they're dealing with. It has a short-term memory, or only deals with things in the short term, and has a limited capacity of things they can attend to, and its logical system is deductive. So if the toddler says to the elephant, "What can I do about this problem?" and the elephant will send back 5 or 6 solutions, and the toddler goes, "Okay, this is the one that we want to pick, let's do that." Right? That's more or less how the toddler works. Now the elephant is your subconscious mind. It's much more powerful than the toddler, as is demonstrated in this image. The elephant has got a number of prime directives, one of which is infinite replication of past behavior. So the elephant thinks if you've done it 10 or 15 or 20 times before, it's very important and it needs to be done forever. Its job is to solve the problems that the toddler tells it to solve. Its job is to keep the toddler safe. So it's primarily concerned with safety. And it conveys danger or conveying a lack of safety to the toddler via emotional states. The elephant has difficulty talking, but it can convey information to the toddler via emotional states. And it's up to the toddler to pay attention to the emotions of the elephant for it to decide what's the best thing to do. Now, the other thing too it's important to understand is that the elephant context matches. What that means is the elephant is continually scanning for danger, and if there's something in the external environment that appears to be similar to something that's been dangerous in the past, it will let the toddler know via profoundly negative emotional states. Also, finally, the elephant has an inductive logical system. What that means is if the toddler says, hey, what are different ways to solve this problem, the elephant's capable of going out and finding 10 different solutions to the problem that the toddler suggested. So it creates a list. An inductive logical system creates multiple solutions. Deductive logical system picks the one solution from the list. Now, it's important to know that that's what happens. Now, in the context of a problem behavior, like let's say panic attack, right? The elephant scans for environments where there may have been negative emotions in the past, or there may have been danger in the past, and when it sees a context that's similar to that, it lets the toddler know with extreme levels of emotional stress, and it'll give the toddler a panic attack, right? So that it's unable to do anything. So the elephant thinks it's being really, really helpful, but what it can end up doing is it can end up being profoundly debilitating for both of them. But the elephant doesn't care. Its primary focus is infinite replication of past behavior and safety. Now, the reason why this model is very important is because inside the state of hypnotic trance, the elephant becomes suggestible. Inside the state of hypnotic trance, I'm talking directly to the elephant, and the elephant is capable of changing. It's capable of trying out different behaviors inside the state of hypnotic trance. Inside the state of waking consciousness, the toddler really is in control, right? But inside the state of trance, I'm talking straight to the elephant. Now, the elephant is supremely impressed with repetition. So if the elephant is given an appropriate information about how to behave within a particular context, or what desired behavior is, if the elephant's told that repeatedly, it's perfectly capable of letting go of past behavior. But absent from that repeated information, the elephant will keep doing what it's always done, right? So it's really important to understand this is the way the mind works. So inside waking consciousness, the toddler's awake and the elephant's awake. Inside the state of, when you're asleep, the toddler's asleep, but the elephant's awake. The elephant can change inside the state of hypnotic trance. So this is how this works in terms of how hypnosis works, in hypnotherapy works. In terms of hypnosis and hypnotherapy, I'm talking straight to the elephant. And this is why it works so quickly, because with repeated listening to a hypnotic trance, if someone's highly suggestible, the elephant's capable of changing straight away. But unless you're in that state of hypnotic trance, the toddler really gets in the way. So this is kind of how it works. Now, there are some common myths about hypnosis. The first one is that you lose control under hypnosis. This is not exactly true. Inside the state of hypnotic trance, you're still in control. Inside the state of hypnotic trance, they're aware of what I'm saying. They're aware of the words I'm using, but they feel so good they don't really care. And they can emerge from trance at any point in time. Now, this is very uncommon, but it's actually possible. My hypnosis teacher told me a story of he was doing a hypnotic session with someone and the fire alarm went off in the building, and the person that was in deep trance was the first person out of the building. So you're still in control at all times, even though you might be in hypnotic trance. Right? That's the first myth that's really important to dispel. The next one, often people ask, well, you make me cluck like a chicken. No, I'm not going to make you cluck like a chicken. Clucking like a chicken isn't normally necessary for therapeutic change. If you want me to get you to cluck like a chicken on within a particular circumstance, I'm happy to do that, but it's not necessarily needed to, I don't know, kick depression or anxiety or a phobia cure, right? Now, next one, some people say, well, it's not going to work for me. Well, the truth is that the vast majority of people are hypnotizable. Whilst it is true that a small proportion of people have a low level of suggestibility, most people have a high level of suggestibility. And what's necessary for therapeutic change is the person to believe that it's going to occur and to engage in the process of repeatedly listening to some kind of trance with therapeutic metaphor. The vast majority of people are able to experience positive change through hypnosis. The final one that I've heard a couple of times from clients who are worried is that hypnosis will change my personality. That's not true. Hypnosis will not change your personality. It will change your behavior, which may induce changes in what you consider to be possible, but it's not going to change your personality. You will still be you at the end of the hypnotic trance, but you might be you with more capability. You might be you who has new options and choices in your life. I once had a client who had an extreme marijuana addiction. They've been smoking a lot of marijuana for 30 years. And after one hypnotic session and listening to the trance for 2 weeks, they went from having more than 20 cones of marijuana a day to nothing. Their sense of who they were changed completely, but in a positive way, merely by changing the behavior that they find acceptable or that they did on a regular basis. So these are the myths about hypnosis that I wanted to address. Hypnosis is wonderful. Most people feel wonderful. Most people, when they emerge from trance, they feel fantastic. They feel like they've had 2 or 3 hours of sleep. Some people have emerged from trance and said, that's the most relaxed I've felt for 25 years. Some people start crying because they felt so good. There's a broad range of behavior that people experience when they're immersed in trance, but the vast and overwhelming majority of those behaviors are wonderful. So if you haven't tried hypnosis or hypnotherapy, I highly recommend it. Any repeating pattern of behavior that you're experiencing at the moment that you don't want can be worked with hypnosis and hypnotherapy. Thanks very much for the time. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be producing more content around relationships, couples, counseling, and hypnosis as time goes by. Thanks very much for your time, and thank you for watching. Bye.